And welcome to another edition of the Bullheaded Podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and Peebush. How you guys doing?
Doing all right, man. Aaron Rodgers, still owns us. I thought I
Mm-hmm.
had a moment there with Fields.
Mm-hmm.
I know I got too excited too quickly, per usual, with the Bears-Packers game. But hey, he gave that salute, held it a little too long, in my opinion. But
Oh, stop.
the rain is over in Green Bay. I think they might be transitioning to your boy, Jordan Love.
They might be,
So
bro.
we'll see how this franchise
be.
takes their turn. I don't know, man. It could be the Lions and Bears for a couple years to come. Obviously, the Vikings are still good, but NFC North could start getting interesting, man. We might have a little change of the guard here.
Man, stop it with the Jordan Love, man. Stop it, man. They paid this guy $50 million to play football, and they ain't going to have him chilling on the bench and see Jordan Love develop his skill set, man. That ain't happening.
We'll see.
That ain't happening. Even though Aaron
No.
Rodgers this year has been a shell of himself right now because he's barely recognizable, man. He had like a cute game. Usually he goes off against the Chicago Bears, man.
That's true.
This team barely won. It took a Christian Watson rushing touchdown to get it
Close
going.
it out.
To close it
Couple
out, pretty
picks.
much. Exactly. So I'm like, Jesus Christ. Packers unrecognizable, man. But this week in football, man, is the definition of heartbreak, man. Last week, my pick, my boy Mike White and the New York Jets, man.
Ooh.
Going down driving. My boy Mike White throws a dime. The brother White, that white guy, just dropped the ball, man.
Arios.
I can't even say the name, man. I can't even say the name because I remember right after that they kicked the ball back. They had Barrios on special teams catching the football. They trusted that guy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding
Special
me?
team, man.
Oh Lord! So Barrios dropped a beautiful dime by Mike White. Shout out to him. He threw over 300 yards this game. He's doing really, really well
Garrett
against.
Wilson.
Yeah. Oh, Garrett Wilson looking like an absolute stud out there, man.
Mhm.
So looks like he stepped out of bounds on that unbelievable catch and run. Could have got like a 80-yard touchdown, but stepped out of bounds, man. But Mike White looking good, looking like Zach Wilson to be chilling on the bench the rest of the year based on his play, man. But
They just need
Mike-
to work on the red zone, man.
Oh,
5
oh,
field
oh,
goals.
I
Can't
know.
do that.
Oh, I know,
Can't have
man.
that.
My boy Mike White, man, had money line for him, man.
Mm.
Throws a pick, cost my bet after that pick, and cost me, and I lost by 2 points because of that interception. I lost. I'm out of the playoffs now. I had CMC, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Kyler Murray, Jalen Waddle, Christian Watson out of the playoffs. How's
Kyler
that
Murray's the
possible?
reason. Kyler Murray's the reason right there, and you know it because you were probably starting Danny Dimes, man. Come on.
No, I started Mike White.
Oh, you had Mike White this week.
I
Oh,
Mike White.
Dang, that was desperation for real.
Yeah, that is.
Dude, all I had to do was
Seems
not
like
get
I
a
heard
pick,
one.
man. I would have won by points, like 0.3 points, man. But
Mm.
that pick, man, ended one of my all-time teams, man. So
Mm.
sad. So sad.
It's been a
It's been a
up and
rough-
down year in
It's
fantasy.
a rough week, man. It's a rough week of betting, fantasy football. Oh, Lord, I never raged so hard. I never been so invested in a Jets game my entire life, man. I was so invested. My eyes were glued. I was like, yo, come on, Mike White.
Would you have believed a year ago that Zoo would be rooting for the Jets in a big
I don't
game,
like
you
you
know?
say. Is the Jets out of the two New York franchises? Has a lot. Like they leave a lot to be desired. But man, let me tell you, fantasy wise, I don't have the guy on my team, but I was in Elijah Moore's camp a lot, and kind of glad I didn't pick him up because I
Same.
spent any draft capital on him because he hasn't done anything for me. I do kind of wish though if I had to go back, I took Jahan, and I'm kind of happy with it because Jahan had a big game. But God, if I just maybe would
Clutch
have
touchdown.
gotten Garrett Wilson off the waiver wire in that like maybe week 2, week 3 range.
Oh,
like,
you're looking
I-
nice.
I would be probably like number 1, at least
Dude.
maybe top 2 seed.
His
Come
route
on,
running, man.
come on,
Like
come
even
on.
he had a sick like juke move, but Mike White like overthrew it slightly right out of the reach to Garrett Wilson's hand. If it was just a little closer, man, that could have been a touchdown. That could have been like an 80, it's like a 70-yard touchdown. Just missed him.
He runs routes like
Mm.
he's meant to be a receiver. It's a lot of athletic traits he has. That is, I know Drake London I think went first and he was second, but man, it's he's got a lot of number 1 qualities as a receiver. Like he just like say he gets consistent quarterback play, he'll be super nice.
Him and Olave, man, they taught each other. Let's just put it that
Olave
way.
too. He's another speed demon, 6 foot, whatever, that can run routes. Ohio State, man, this is what they do.
If only Justin Fields had one of them.
Justin Fields, man.
Yes, Ohio State's definitely a factor. That's probably the reason why they're in the playoffs right now. But
Absolutely.
I digress. We'll be talking about college football actually a little bit later on this year with the playoffs and things like that. We'll be giving you guys some picks on that. But kind of wanted to first start off with the NFL weekend that just passed. You know, just getting to the nitty gritty of the end of the season, and with that comes injuries. Most teams can like sustain those when it's maybe like a receiver or a running back because it's just the depth of the league. But when it comes to quarterbacks, man, if you lose those starters, that's going to be some tough sledding. So, you know, the 49ers and the Ravens, they lost their starters. The 49ers a little bit more serious because it looks like Jimmy G is going to be out for the year. You know, we were talking about it pre-pod. Like if he does come back, he'd be during the Super Bowl. And it's like at that point, why would you even want him to actually play quarterback for you? Because the backup's probably doing well. And with Lamar, I think it's more of a cautious approach, and he'll be out for maybe 3 weeks at the minimum. So I wanted to ask the guys, how do you think this impacts? And it's kind of interesting because they both, you know, NFC and AFC, and they're both in the thick of the playoff race. So how does it impact their future into maybe possibly making a run or it be cut short enough? People, Sean, we'll start with you.
It's tough, man. I mean, I think we can all agree that the 49ers are the much better team overall. Defensively, I mean, the Ravens, I was talking about this with a couple of buddies. You know, the Ravens and the Chargers have been the two most banged up teams this year by far. Both have suffered through a lot of stuff. And the Ravens are kind of hanging on by a thread. You know, they had the Dobbins injury, Gus Edwards going down, kind of relying on Kenyon Drake. And, you know, on the defensive side of the ball, losing some guys. It's really affected Mark Andrews' play, I think, you know, just not having good wide receiver options to get him open. Sorry, Zoo.
I know, man.
But
you know, what a sucker for a third rounder, man. That's all I gotta say, man.
All right, yeah. I mean, Tyler Huntley, you know, he goes in and, you know, he did have that clutch game-winning drive, but let's all be honest, the Broncos have a good defense, but beating them by 1 point, 10-9, that was probably one of the worst football games I've ever watched in my life. And I sat through that Monday Night Football game for the first, you know, 3.5 quarters of that Bucs Saints game. Man, was just brutal. And this one easily took the cake. Another Broncos loss, 3 field goals per usual. But, you know, you're looking at this team who have an unbelievable defense. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant 2.0, not calling him Tom Brady, but, you know, final pick in the draft, comes in and does pretty damn well, man. He kind of had a Jimmy G type game, 210, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, you know, got it done. The defense did obviously carry, and, you know, McCaffrey had a nice game. Jordan Mason, I thought, has actually stepped in nicely for Elijah Mitchell with him going down on IR. They always just seem to have a random running back that can come in
for sure
and just get it done, give you 5-6 yards of carry. So, you know, obviously I do think that the Niners are just in a better spot overall, not asking Brock to do too much. And they just have so many weapons that, you know, that I think they'll easily still take the NFC West here, unless the Seahawks are able to, you know, pretty much clean the slate and win out. And the Niners, you know, maybe catch a loss here or there with Purdy. But I'm looking at Tyler Huntley, man, on the other side. You know, he's a cute quarterback, kind of a Taylor Heineke kind of guy. You know, he can run the ball well. He's a gamer, you know, and he you know, he had that nice touchdown run, like I said, to win the game. But I just don't see the Ravens, you know, especially in the AFC North with the Bengals, man. They are hot, coming off a nice win against the Chiefs. Shout out my proposal to Zoo last week to take the money line, but he didn't listen to me. They just own they own Kansas City and Cincy. So, you know, it's actually funny to think about, and I think we'll get into it here in a little bit with a later topic. But, you know, I think the Bengals will end up taking that division, and the Ravens might be vying for that final wild card spot with the Jets, the Patriots, the Chargers, and hell, man, the Raiders are kind of coming up. They've won 3 in a row. They're only a game back. Don't look now. I mean, they're looking pretty nice, you know, just as of late. So, you know, I do think that, you know, obviously Lamar going down with the PCL, you know, that weird 1 to 3 week timetable. He's guaranteed to be out this week against the Steelers, which is a divisional game. So any tiebreakers with the Bengals that could come into play there if they do catch the loss this week. But, you know, you're looking at, like I said, man, I just see the Bengals being the hot team right now, getting Mixon back, hopefully, with Samaje Perine. Shout out him real quick, man. He's stepped up nicely in the Mixon absence. But I'm just seeing this Bengals team has easily taken the AFC North with a possible 2-game slide that these Ravens are going to have to go through. So I do think the Niners are just in a better spot because they're just not going to have to ask Purdy to do too much. Just bunch of screens to Debo, check it down to McCaffrey, and look for Kittle up the middle, man, and hand it off to McCaffrey. So there's not much you can do as a defense to stop all those offensive weapons, no matter who's at quarterback.
Yeah, man. After this injury, man, I'm like, the 49ers are the most unlucky team in football, man.
Absolutely.
They lost 2 quarterbacks. Like, they lost Trey Lance and Jimmy G. Like, what are the odds of losing 2 starting quarterbacks?
Yep.
That's just insane. That's just bad luck. The crazy part is they're still good because the team is stacked. It is so stacked. It's ready to win a Super Bowl, but it looks like the fantasy guys just don't want this team to win a Super Bowl. Like, I'm sorry, Brock Purdy had a cute game, 25 for 37 for throwing the football. Like, he had 2 tutties. Dolphins offense was just getting smashed on defense, man. Like, Bosa, like, he's out there trying to win Defensive Player of the Year right now. Like, he made Tua look like trash. Like, this was Tua's worst game of the year. He looked shook. The physicality definitely looks like it got to the Dolphins. More of a finesse team, man, even though Tyreek Hill things. Get 146 yards, man. The dude's unstoppable. Gets a touchdown every, like, don't remind me, man. Don't remind me. All right. That brother cost me a fucking playoff berth right there. Jalen Waddle left the game, got me 9 yards, man. I need the brother to get 29 yards. Freaking Waddle. Embarrassing. But, man, oh, man, that 49ers team, man, if Shanahan pulls us off, obviously making the playoffs, and even I would say it's a success if they would just win 1 playoff game with this guy.
Yeah.
With a 3rd-string quarterback, last pick of the NFL draft. Nobody knew this dude's name, Brock Purdy, man. If Shanahan could do what this dude, Jimmy G, would be like, man, Jimmy G trying to get paid this summer. And for him to get paid this summer, he low-key needs the Niners to struggle without him, saying, yes, I'm that dude. I could be a nice middle-tier quarterback. I'm obviously not a franchise dude, but like a middle-tier quarterback that could lead a team to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl as me as leading the charge. But if this Brock Purdy guy leads them, that's going to hurt Jimmy G's value. So I don't know, Jimmy G, man, little psychological battle up there, man. Want to root for your teammates, man, but you want to get that bread, man. So Jimmy G, man, but the 49ers, it'll be interesting because Brock Purdy, man, like this 1 game sample size, I ain't buying it. I ain't buying it. He looked pretty solid, but I ain't buying it, man. But like the Baltimore Ravens, man, this is another team every year. Everybody gets injured.
Yep.
Everybody. The running back, the quarterback, defensive players, all like O-linemen. Like, I swear to God, every single year, this Ravens team can't catch a break, man. Every year I say, oh, man, if this Ravens team healthy, man, if Lamar Jackson gets a little better as a throw, they could get it done. But all these injury bugs catching up every year, man, every year. And I'm saying the same thing. I'm like, man, I don't know if I can believe in this team right now with all these injuries again, man. Lamar Jackson, obviously, this dude plays an aggressive style of football, man. No guaranteed contract, getting injured again. I don't know if this is going to change this dude's mindset of getting a deal done that guarantees money because he is taking a massive risk right now. Like, he's lucky that's not an ACL. He's lucky. He's lucky. The way he plays, he's not a Tom Brady that sits back in the pocket, man, barely gets hit every game. Lamar Jackson plays an aggressive style of football, and he's betting on himself, which I give props to. But the way you play, I don't think you do that. Or what, like 250 versus 200? Man, $50 million. I love money, man, but just take the guaranteed money and move on with your life, man. Take the guaranteed money, move on with your life, man, because the Baltimore Ravens, they ain't budging. Because they're like, oh, this dude got injured again, man. And Huntley, man, I like Tyler Huntley.
Yeah.
I think he could be a low-tier starting quarterback. He's obviously in the bottom tier, but he's better than a couple starters. I can name a couple starters in the NFL that he's better than. A.K.A. Russell Wilson. Davis Mills. Zach Wilson. So, like, that just threw off the top of the head. He's better than them. So, this guy could start. He's pretty effective when he plays. He got a little running game in him. And last year, when Lamar Jackson was out, Tyler Huntley was balling.
Yeah.
Like, he was actually balling. I think he's better than Jacoby Brissett. So,
more versatile.
Yeah.
He's definitely more versatile.
So, I feel like he could be like a top, like, 25-ish quarterback in the NFL right now. So he'll be serviceable for how many, like Lamar Jackson, 3 weeks at most. So maybe miss it. Like they say Lamar Jackson might play this week. They haven't ruled it out yet. But
I think he'll sit. I thought Harbaugh.
That's a little wild. But like let Huntley play, man, because Jesus, he is serviceable. I'm less worried about the Ravens just because of Huntley's situation. But man, oh man, I feel bad for these two franchises, man, because they just can't seem to catch a break.
Yeah,
Not even one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Huntley. I think with him, it might just be he needs to get more game reps. And you can say the same thing about Brock, but Huntley's at least played in the league a couple games, and he hasn't been an abject disaster. So I could definitely see a situation where if he got a lot of game reps and was able to like get in just tough games, have do those games where you're throwing interceptions, or those games where you have 2 or 3 touchdowns, just seeing the highs and lows of being an NFL quarterback, he could be, I think, a serviceable player. I think for me, I'm going to trend a little bit more towards Brock, and that's just because his supporting cast is that much better. And Kyle Shanahan has shown, like you say, just that he puts an emphasis on running back. He puts an emphasis on controlling the clock. So for me, I don't think he's going to put Purdy in a lot of situations where he has to go win the game. Like you say, he has a great defense already. He has Debo, he has Christian McCaffrey, he has Brendan Ayuk. He has a lot of weapons to work with. And Brock Purdy, even though he was picked as like the Mr. Irrelevant, which is like the last pick in the NFL draft, I'm a fan of college football, and I watched him from time to time. He was a good quarterback at Iowa State. I think his only knock was that he was like, probably 6 foot on a good day. That was pretty much his only knock. I think if he would have been 6'2", he might have been drafted maybe 4th or 5th round, and he would have been maybe looked at as a higher prospect. So he's a guy who's got talent. It's just more so about his, I guess you could say, stature, because he's not a dynamic athlete. Like Huntley's a dynamic athlete. He's pretty much like Lamar's clone, but just not as talented.
Yeah.
So I kind of think Purdy is, I guess, more so limited on the athletic side, even though he's a decent athlete. But I do think from the small sample size we saw, if they can stick to the intermediate routes and throwing behind the line of scrimmage and letting Debo and McCaffrey do their thing, they have a really good chance. Because I do not think he's going to be the type of quarterback that's going to turn the ball over a lot. And Shannon, and I think with Shanahan, if he even tries a, 30 or 40-yard bomb down the sideline, he might get pulled out, and it might just be Wildcat McCaffrey. I think Purdy's going to definitely take care of the ball more, which is why, like I said, I think Huntley's probably a better prospect. It's just even when Lamar is in there, the Baltimore Ravens are very reliant on like Mark Andrews. They have these weird games where Demarcus Robinson has like, he's another fantasy freaking mystery. Like 1 week he'll have 1 catch, and then the next week he'll have like 11 for 120. It's just like, what the heck? You can't. He's like a boomer bust guy, the equivalent of a boomer bust guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say the backfield is always a mess. So, with Baltimore, I think they got Pittsburgh in the last 2 weeks, or twice in the last couple of weeks. So that's going to be, even though Pittsburgh's not that good, they're still just, those are knockdown, drag out type of games. So I think I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the 49ers with Brock Purdy. And who knows, man, like you say, the NFC, the Seahawks, I like them, but they could teeter in and out, whatever. But I still think if the 49ers somehow manage, if Purdy comes out and it's not a disaster, I still have a lot of faith in them to do well in the playoffs. I do. Because I just think Shanahan has the weapons and the defense, and the 49ers, they have been on the cusp. Like they've been deep in the playoffs. It's not like they've been one of those like how Green Bay is just one game and they're out. Like they've gotten to the Super Bowl, they've gotten to the NFC Championship game, they've gotten deep in the playoffs a couple times. So I have faith that, and I think more of that is because of Shanahan and his style. He knows how to control the clock. He always has really good running backs. Like you say, who's Jordan Mason? Like just a plug and play guy.
Yep.
Like if I'm Shanahan, I'm never paying for a running back. Like I know I got McCaffrey, but that's just because he's more of a dynamic talent. But like,
he's a wide receiver
dynamic,
too.
Yeah.
He's a wide receiver too. You're getting 2 positions in one.
Yeah, so you got to be a dynamic talent. Yeah, so yeah, I'm never paying for a running back. But yeah, I'm trending towards the 49ers. That's going to be able to stabilize what they got going on right now, for sure.
Man,
so
Purdy's a tough one, man.
Yeah, I like you say, in college he was a good quarterback. It's all, like you say, it's all about measurables in college. And sometimes in college, just because you got great stats, it doesn't mean you're going to be a great quarterback. But he's got arm talent. He's got a lot.
He's never gotten reps. I mean, he just got thrown in, and to have that type of a game, I know it wasn't a perfect game, but Tyler Huntley's actually been able to run with this offense a couple times, like you said, Sean, in the past because of Lamar's injuries. Purdy just gets thrown in, and he has a decent game and plays against one of the better teams in the league this year. So,
and he won't be scared, that's for sure. He's definitely got a.
And
nothing to
he won't need to be throwing downfield too with
No.
playmakers like guys like Debo and CMC, man.
Yeah.
Like you just let your playmakers go wild. That's all you got to do, man. Let your playmakers go
In
wild.
Baltimore, I don't even like say you got Mark Andrews, but it's just an indictment. They don't have any, and I know Rashad Bateman got hurt, but they don't have any playmakers. Like it's just they're another team that needs to go to first. I know their defense is the identity of the city, and that's what they're built on. But they need to go in and just draft. Like go find an Ohio State receiver, go find an LSU receiver that's coming out this year. Go get a true number one. Like I know Mark Andrews, he's great, but even like
he's not great anymore, man. I saw Mark Andrews just dropping tutty passes, man. He ain't great, man. He ain't great. I was never the biggest Mark Andrews fan, but I took him in the third round this year because I got nobody else.
He's injured.
But
he's coming off injury.
No. I see Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce, man. Night and day, man. Night and day. That's a tight end boy. I'm comparing them. I'm watching them. I'm like, man, they ain't in the same tier. There's levels to this. And Mark Andrews in the basement. It's Travis Kelce in the penthouse, man. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
Night and day. I'm not going to argue with that. I guess two quarterbacks, like you say, is on the same playing field, and it's not so much a night and day comparison, which is Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. You know, it's pretty cool that in the AFC at least you have two quarterbacks that you're going to see probably for the next 10 years battle it out to see who's going to get to the Super Bowl. Even though they're not in the same division, they're definitely going to have some regular season games and some playoff battles that are going to shape how each's, I guess, legacy will be remembered. And you know, Burrow, man, he's kind of got the upper hand right now with Mahomes, and that's kind of crazy to say considering you know Mahomes' track record and his, I guess you could say, cred around the league, as everybody looks at him as like the Don Dada and the number one guy in the league. But it's kind of hard to continue to say that when a guy that's in the same division keeps beating him. I think he's 3-0 against him right now.
3-0,
and I think what his last
all of them happened in 2022.
Yeah, which is. It's like, so you got to give it up to Burrow. So it kind of got me thinking who, you know, because now, like I say, the playoffs have not started yet, and these teams still have to fight for position, but we're just going to project and say that both of these guys are going to make the playoffs. Who would you rather have for a playoff run, whether it's you're on the road, you got a homestand, whatever? Who are you taking to get your, I guess, whatever team you're rooting for, or a team that is, I guess, your main one? Who are you taking for playoff? I guess extravaganza and oh man.
Start with Zoo.
Who you going with, Zoo? Because I feel like I know who you're going with, but I don't know.
I gotta first say this: Joe Burrows, guy's a stud. He's a top 5 quarterback.
All right.
He's a top 5 quarterback in NFL right now. If I'm starting a franchise, I might even put him as top 3 right now because you gotta put an age in consideration, man. He's up there. He's up there. So that's all I got to say about Joe Burrow. This guy's got the swag. He got the weapons. Jamar Chase, what a stud. T. Higgins. Even the backup Samaje Perine, he's a stud, man. Samaje Perine, shouts to him. Handcuffs, man. He's a reminder that handcuffs are important in real life football as well as fantasy football, man. I got to say all that. Bengals 4-game winning streak. 8-4. People are sleeping on them, man. They're sleeping on them, man. And they beat my boy Mahomes 3-0. This might be a little 49ers Green Bay stuff. You know what I mean? Historical precedents. This team just sort of owns them. But I'm still riding with Patrick Mahomes, baby. I'm taking the more talented quarterback. I'm picking the better head coach. Andy Reid, man. I'm sorry. That is an objective advantage at the quarterback or at the head coach position. Yep. Like that's just not. There's not even close. Andy Reid versus that bum over there. Like they're winning. Zach. They're winning in spite of Zach Taylor. They're winning in spite of him. Andy Reid. She's winning because of Andy Reid. Because if you look at the weapons, Mahomes got worse weapons.
Yeah.
On the skill position, it's not even close. Like even at the running back, you got Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine. They got a little McKinnon, 6th-rounder Isaiah Pacheco. CEH can't even get on the football field. Like that is just a disgrace. You got Travis Kelce as your tight end, who's an absolute monster. But then the wide receivers, like Juju has nice little catches, gets a little yak after. But Marquez Valdez-Scantling, all that brother does is get open and drop footballs, man. That's all he does for a living. There's a reason Green Bay let him go. Because they got a better version of him over there. It's called Christian Watson now. Christian Watson, who's an upgrade. He had the dropping thing in the beginning, but that guy sort of figured it out. But Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Jesus Christ, absolute atrocious. So you don't got a true number one wide receiver one. Travis Kelce got to do it all for Mahomes. Mahomes got to leverage him, and obviously you see Travis Kelce had an off game. They couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done, man. And something about this Bengals team does scare me, though, man. Every time they play, super close. All the games are always extremely close, and then it goes down to field goal kicking and Harrison Butker. He's not having such a good year. Historically, he's like an elite kicker, like money in the bank, but this guy's had an injury at the beginning of the season. Maybe doesn't got his rhythm down, but this dude's been missing field goals and extra points. So Harrison Butker, they need that brother to hit 50-yard field goals. And last year, I got to say this, even though I'm picking Mahomes, he was horrendous in the second half. I did not recognize him. Patrick Mahomes last year's second half was like Russell Wilson this entire season, man. He was absolutely tragedy. He was atrocious. He was so bad last year in the second half, because first half he was dominating. Second half, it wet the bed. Still don't know how the Cincinnati Bengals made it to the Super Bowl, because that was the Chiefs' opportunity to get it done. Like, the Rams stopped him, man. I would take him the Chiefs easy, man. So maybe the Bengals got their number. I'm going to go with Mahomes, because I still believe he's the better quarterback. Yeah. And I got the better head coach.
That's fair.
Better head coach.
I agree on the head coach.
Even though Joe Burrow's, man, woo! I love that boy. He won me a fantasy football championship last year, so I got a lot of love for this brother. But Joe Burrow, man, going 4-0 against Patrick Mahomes, good luck. Good luck, sir, man. Good luck in the playoffs. Good luck, man. You'll remember this. Mahomes will remember this.
I mean, I agree. If I'm taking like an individual quarterback and you're saying, okay, you start the playoffs, whatever team he has, I'm taking Mahomes just because he's less of a pocket passer, right? He can make a play, kind of get out of there, just chuck it down the field. He just doesn't have the Tyreek Hill to do that with this year. And that's, I think, I'm not saying, and we talked about this at the beginning of the season, was that going to be the thing the Chiefs were dealing with? MVS, man, I think they thought he was going to do more than he has. Juju dealing with the concussion issues, right? He's not, I don't know. He doesn't look like the Juju that we knew and saw in his early years in Pittsburgh.
No deep balls, man.
He's still a viable, no deep balls. Still a viable option though in the slant screen kind of plays right up the middle. Obviously, Travis Kelce, man, he's the best. He is the best talent of any weapon on either of these two teams. You can say Jamar Chase is up there. I agree. But Kelce is just so dominant in what he does, finding openings in zones, just ridiculous. But I'm taking this as an overall team, man. And I'm just seeing, Jamar Chase getting healthier over the next couple weeks.
He looked good.
Joe
Mixon looked good.
Coming back. And now that they know that they can actually give Mixon a little bit of a break with Pirine coming into the game, I think that they were always hesitant to give him more playing time, even though they might have seen his talent level. Knowing what he can do is only going to help Mixon and therefore help Burrow. The only guy that I'm kind of concerned about, and we haven't really seen too much out of, is Tyler Boyd and Hayden Hurst. I think those two guys.
Tyler Boyd had a terrible drop. That Tyler Boyd drop, he was wide open. Nobody touched him. Like, the Bengals outplayed the Chiefs, like, by a lot.
Yeah, they did. They did. But T. Higgins, man, absolute monster. He's a hell of a guy to have as your wide receiver, too. I think he'd be a wide receiver one on most teams in the NFL. Bears, pull it off, man, please. Trade back in the draft.
But every time I watch him play, he's like physically, like he's so tall. Like when he catches the football, he just physically looks bigger than everyone who's like guarding him. That's one thing I always notice.
His catch radius is crazy.
His catch radius, it's a great way to put it. But yeah, so I mean, I'm gonna go with Burrow. I know everyone always jokes he's got, kind of a very stoic personality. I think Mahomes is kind of stoic as well, just very like in the game. I want to take my team. I'm going to kind of be the leader. But, man, I just think the swag of Burrow, man, I just think he keeps it personal, man. He keeps things personal. And I think what it's going to come down to, Zoo, is they're a game back, or the Bengals are a game back of the Chiefs overall in ranking right now. I think they're going to win their respective divisions. Obviously, we talked about the Ravens issues. It's going to come down to which of them has home field advantage if they meet in the playoffs. Because if the Bengals and them have the same record, I think they get the head-to-head because they beat them in the regular season.
I I like how you brought
and
that
they'd
up.
have home field advantage.
I like how you bring that up. You know how easy KC schedule is?
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos twice. We just write those in. That's a W. I don't need to
they
watch
playing
those
the
games,
Raiders?
man.
Do they
The
play
Raiders.
Raiders?
Okay, Raiders. They always play them pretty
That
tough.
could be a sneaky game.
The Houston Texans. Do I need to say any more? Houston
Dub.
Texans.
Duh.
Enough said.
Seattle Seahawks a little better than I thought, but Seattle they're gonna get their ball whipped.
There's 2 games. Those could both.
Man,
be
no.
trash.
I'll give you one.
Okay,
The Raiders.
but, all right, but the Bengals, man, they have an opportunity to win out, I think. And I don't know how. I don't have their schedule right in front of me, but this team.
No.
they have a chance.
They play the They play the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
That's one.
Buccaneers. I'm not ruling them out. Buccaneers, man. Buccaneers.
Get out of here, Zoo.
Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, get out of here.
In division, but
It's
if
a big
Lamar's
division
not
game, I
playing,
guess.
then
That's the last week. So
That's
Lamar
weekend.
might be healthy enough for that game. So obviously,
And
like the Cleveland Browns, Jesus Christ, Deshaun looked like trash. And New England Patriots, like, okay, those are gimme wins. But the
it's
other.
about the same. It's about the same.
No,
I would say it's about the same.
you know why?
I think
Because I played the Denver Broncos twice,
Raiders.
man. I'm
Defense
sorry.
is good.
Oh,
Their defense is good.
but that offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
No,
argument.
you're right. But all
Do you know
gotta
what?
is
Do you know what their
shut down
high is in Vegas? It's gonna be like 12 points, man. That's gonna be a great day for the Denver Broncos offense.
Goal,
I'm
field goal.
exactly. That's gonna be like,
Crazy for
oh,
them.
hit the over from the Broncos. Oh Lord,
Yeah.
they're
No, I mean,
disaster.
so I agree, Zoo. Like, I think that the Chiefs' schedule is slightly easier.
Mm,
I do think I do think those 2 games are both trap games against Seattle and Vegas. Vegas being the big one because they're
Vegas,
also very
Vegas,
hot.
legit. They play them pretty well every time.
They always
Historically.
do, and I'm actually interested to see because I think that Seahawks Chiefs game could be a shootout. I think that could be a shootout kind of game. They're both the Seahawks are vying for a playoff spot, and then the Chiefs are going to try and hold that one of the buys, right? So I'm looking at that. I'm still sticking with this Cincinnati Bengals team. I think if they meet again in the playoffs, I think they get it done. They just beat them without Mixon, man. They beat them without Mixon.
And dude, Samaje low-key looked better than Mixon that game. That's all I gotta say. Samaje P. Ryan, his after contact running, man.
A little blasphemous.
No. You know me, I'm a huge Joe Mixon guy. But Samaje P. Ryan has been playing like an RB1 for the last
Kansas
4
City's
weeks.
defense, who's not that great.
Exactly.
No. When he got hit, man, he just ran through them. Samaje P. Ryan looked
He was on a
really,
mission.
really good. Like, if you put Joe Mixon out there, you could probably do the same thing, equivalent like stat line.
He's got a little chip on his shoulder too, trying to prove like, hey, I could be an RB1 on some of these teams.
Fun fact: they're both Oklahoma running backs too, which is
There
crazy.
you go. Yeah, that's why they get.
They
along.
actually might have overlapped.
He
or they might have
averaged
been together.
5 yards a carry.
Yeah, he had a nice game, man.
He had a great game. 106 yards on 5 yards a carry. That's incredible.
How many
And he
attempts
called
did he have? He had a
21 carries, 21 carries for 106 yards. So he went 2-3 down back. Nobody else ran the ball more than twice. So legit, this guy's a 3 down back, and he has 6 catches for 49 yards.
Yep.
Like that's like a great Joe Mixon stat line. So they're good on
Mixon's
RB.
stat line is 50 fantasy points. Let's be honest. Man,
What was that?
Oh, yeah.
Top
or whatever.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. But yeah, I think
That's
this
a
is
mixing game.
to Sean's point. These guys are right at the same level right now. I do think the head coaching thing is a good point, but I also think if they meet in the playoffs again, man, the Bengals just have their number. So I'm a ride with it.
You know,
I hope they play. That's all I gotta say.
that'd be a great game.
I hope they play.
I kind of almost think they are. I do like now the Bills. They're gonna have a say. They're like, hey, we were the same team that dueled with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
We
yeah.
should have beat them if we got the ball first. But I just kind of have a feeling that they're both gonna kind of meet up. I don't know, because that game, like I said, they play games very close, and how they're trending right now, I think they're kind of gonna both trend in the same direction of seeding where it would happen. But the Bills, they're gonna have something to say about that.
But losing Von Miller, I gotta mention that losing Von Miller to injury is massive.
Torn ACL.
Massive. This guy gets to
Tough
the
one.
quarterback. That is a massive loss.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for the Bills because he definitely was a guy they were. I know they got him for the regular season, and that's kind of what he does. He coasts through the regular season and gets his sacks, but I think they definitely got him for the playoffs and him coming around the edge to chase a guy like Patrick Mahomes or a guy like Joe Burrow. So it's going to be interesting to see who they get to fill that void. But I'm with Zoo. I'm still going to ride with Mahomes, and it's more so of as much as Mahomes and Burrow, they kind of got their own, like, Burrow's got the I'm cool guy, whatever, like the whole you say swag type,
The cigar, man.
personality.
That's a
Yeah, he's got
legendary
that
picture.
cool
That's one of the best
Yeah.
pictures I've ever seen.
He's kind of got the whole I'm too cool for this type attitude, and Mahomes has got more of a stoic, like I'm just here, all shucks, whatever type of guy. I do think with Mahomes, it pisses him off.
Oh,
that
it
he did not
does.
beat
Oh, it
Burrow
does.
these last 3 times. And I think if they do meet in the playoffs, he might go God mode, even regardless of who his weapons are, because you will say you can't even argue like
That rushing
Burrow's
touchdown,
God mode.
man. You see that rushing touchdown 4th
Yeah.
down?
Well, he lost the
Fuck
ball.
it, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Superman, Jordan.
Yeah, he definitely was trying to be like the point guard. Yeah, he was putting him on your back. Like he's definitely got that type of, I guess you could say, mean streak within him. Mahomes has got it. Like you don't see it a lot, but I think he's got that within him. So I think that's going to be a deciding factor. And a lot can be said for, I guess you could say, the defenses. Now, I will slightly say the Cincinnati Bengals have a better defense. But I do think that Mahomes and them with Travis Kelce. Now, I do not think Travis Kelce is going to play that bad. So what I'm banking on is maybe Juju and I don't know, like you say, Sky Moore. I don't understand why they don't even get him the ball at all. Like he's supposed to be like a replacement for Tyreek Hill, not Tyreek Hill, but a replacement. But they're not even looking his way, which I don't understand. Like
it's on MVS, man. It's gonna be on MVS.
I don't like that. I don't.
That scares me. That scares me.
That's gonna be tough. But I do like Patrick's demeanor, his ability to play in big games. Joe Burrow's got that too.
Both of them do.
But it's really gonna come down to where like the seating is and who gets home field advantage. Because Arrowhead, if they get it in Arrowhead, that's one of the more intimidating environments. And I know Joe Burrow did it because I'm pretty sure he beat him. That's what he beat him last year in Arrowhead.
Beat him on the road.
I was always under the belief that the Bengals were just in this whole mode of we're not meant to be here. So like it was just a lot of, whoa, we're just gonna go play in Arrowhead. Who cares? But I think now with because you saw it got to him a little bit at the beginning of the year, like they had expectations, and Joe Burrow talking about, I'm not gonna be on social media anymore, and it was tough at the beginning, and I think it's because they knew the expectations were like had rose, and they got to live up to that. So I think that might factor into their next matchup. But I'm gonna side with Mahomes because, like you say, you always want to go for the guy who we all know is a generational talent who's been getting his ass kicked. And it's like it's not going to be I'm just going to get out here like I'm because I think Mahomes had that last year and Burrow was the guy chasing him. Like I think Mahomes it goes to your point to how you was talking about how he didn't play well in the second half. I think Mahomes just thought, we're just going to, because I think I don't know what the score was, but it was like the Chiefs kind of controlled that first half by a lot.
Yeah, I forget the halftime score. I was trying to think about that too.
But I remember they had that game, I think, controlled by a lot in that first half. And I think Mahomes was just more so like, we're just going to cruise in the second half and I'll make 1 or 2 plays and boom, we're going to get to the Super Bowl somehow. And I think Burrow came out more, I'm going to kick your ass type attitude.
Kansas City was up 21-10.
Yeah.
So they had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And they blew it.
Mm-hmm. It's all about mentality, I think. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. So I think Mahomes learned from that, and he's like, no, that ain't happening no more. So if we get up on him by 21-10 and Andy's thinking about kicking a field goal, and he's like, no, we're going to go for a touchdown here because we got to go for the jugular. You got to knock the Cincinnati down because, like you say, man, Cincinnati has a chance to explode at any point with the amount of weapons they have. So
the big matchup will be Eli Toast Apple versus MVS, man. That's going to be the big matchup.
I actually might take Toast Apple on that one.
Yeah, me too.
I actually might, because it doesn't matter if you cover him if MVS is going to drop the pass. It doesn't even really matter.
Yep.
And then like you say, DBs are really famous for as soon as like the receiver drops the pass, they're like waving their hand and like making it seem like they affected the play. Yeah. So freaking annoying. But man, I thought that was a pretty cool question, and it's gonna be interesting, man. I love the AFC this year. Not so much NFC with the playoff.
The quarterback talent, man.
Yes.
The quarterback talent is incredible. And they're all young. All these quarterbacks are super young. They're the old dudes.
Watch out for Derek Carr, though.
I'm good. On
I'll watch out for Devontae Adams because that dude is doing that well with Derek Carr as his quarterback.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure. He's been incredible this year.
So now we're going to be transitioning into our last topic, which will be, our weekly segment dealing with betting. And I told the guys what are some I guess, situations within the betting world, primarily in the NFL, that they are interested in and have a keen eye for? And Peebush, I'm gonna start with you.
All right, Zoo. I'm actually going to stick with your pick this week. First, I got to absolutely eat that Titans Eagles, man. I thought it was a good start, but they shut down Derrick Henry better than I think a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, they did.
Unbelievable. It's worst game of the year for Derrick Henry. Unbelievable.
Hurts,
So I eat
4
that.
touchdowns,
I'll eat
I
that
think.
one.
3-4
Yeah,
touchdowns.
Hurts,
I'll
4
take
touchdowns. I'll eat that, but at the same time, I had Bengals money line over Chiefs, so I think that balanced out a little bit there. But this week, man, I'm going with your Jets, Zoo. But I'm actually going to focus on right now. I think it's at +9. I do think taking them to cover is an option. They did beat them 20-17 in their first meeting, but I'm actually looking at the under on this one, actually, on the scoring. So it's at 44 right now, and they're in Buffalo, and it's supposed to snow all day on Sunday in Buffalo, man. 80% chance of snow. We all know how Buffalo can get. And that hurts the Buffalo Bills more than anybody. You'd think that they would actually build their running game for playing where they play at home in the wintertime. Now, Josh Allen did have 2 rushing touchdowns against the Jets back earlier in the regular season, but he threw 2 picks. This is one of the best secondaries in the league. And I think that, yeah, Sauce, unbelievable, dude. He's just shutting everyone down. He held, I mean, I know Justin Jeff scored last week, but 45 yards, Zoo, on 7 catches. That is minimal for one of the top, if not the best wide receiver in the league this year. So, I'm looking at that game. The first game was 20-17. I think it's actually a little high on the over-under, in my opinion, at 44. So I just think the weather factor, I just don't see any massive plays coming out of the Buffalo Bills playing through a, high precipitation type of game. And it's really just going to be Josh Allen versus the world, unless they can really get Devin Singletary going. So I think that the under in that one could be a decent bet, but I also think the Jets have a chance to cover. I think they're just at +9 because they're on the road, and the Bills are kind of getting back on track a little bit, but the Jets are also fighting for that final wild card spot. So I believe in Mike White, man, but I also believe in Zonovan Knight, right? I think that's his name.
Yeah, the running back.
Had some nice games coming in with the Michael Carter, and God knows what's up with James Robinson, man. So sorry, Zoo, once again.
But
I do think that I just think that if they can get the ball into Garrett Wilson's hands in a couple quick passes, maybe a cover. So I just think that game overall has a lot of potential on multiple betting fronts. So that's the one I'm looking at this week.
Man, that trade was a disaster. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Okay.
He was doing. He was doing exactly what he was doing when he did.
I knew. I knew. He didn't.
Well, all I gotta say is DeAndre Swift, man. He actually got more than 50% of the snaps, man. He might be back. He looked real good on that touchdown run.
Zoo's bet this week is DeAndre Swift over all of his props this week. He's now finally balling.
The over. Hammer the over.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pick this game, but this is a line I just found interesting. The 2.5 Detroit Lions favored over Minnesota Vikings. Yeah. Like that's very. I'm like, oh, they were favored 2.5 over the Vikings. 10-2, 5-7 team. Obviously, they have home field advantage to give them 3 points. So, like,
it was a 4-point game at Minnesota. They lost.
Yeah, that's a very interesting game. Like the Vikings, like they're very they're 10-2, but that's a very fraudulent 10-2. They're more like an 8-win team. They were 8-7 win team based on their record. So I'm not gonna touch that game this week. I'm gonna beat bye Vikings, man. The game I'm gonna look at is my boy Mahomes, man, because of the losing. There's something about when Mahomes loses a football game, which is quite rare in the regular season.
All right,
quite rare. 9.5. It's -9.5. So a touchdown and a field goal. 9.5. That's key. If it's 10, I'm out. It got to be 9.5.
That's true.
Because, look, first of all, you don't got to worry about the Broncos scoring any tutties, man. So that's one thing that you just got to put that in your mind. Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton is out. So that's one less weapon.
Remind me. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Got rid of that bum. Cortland Sutton is out. Russell Wilson, one less weapon. They were already struggling to score touchdowns. Lost his best weapon. Like he's gonna be relying on Greg Dirch, that dude, to score some touchdowns. Yeah. Good luck, Russ. Good luck. You ain't cooking nothing, man. You ain't cooking nothing. So I'm projecting 0 touchdowns. So at most, I'm saying 6 points right now. The Denver Broncos get 6 points. Yeah, I'm saying.
Come on.
No. 6 points. No. Kansas City is out for some whoop ass right now, man. They just lost a game, and when Kansas City comes back, you know what they do? They blow out the next week's team, man. After losing that,
9.
okay, after that Buffalo game, 24-20, very similar to that the Cincinnati Bengals team. They play San Francisco. You know what they did to them? 44-23
on the road.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there's a mentality thing. When you lose a close game, you're just like, dang, we should have got it done. So they got to take their anger out on a pathetic team in the Denver Broncos, man. And obviously, they can't. That Indianapolis Colts game, I don't know. I remember that ended one of my March what's it called, Survivor pool, because I picked the Chiefs over. Yeah, Chiefs over the Colts
early.
It felt like March Madness when they lost, because I was like, God damn, they just lost to Matty Ice and the Colts. But that week after, they blew out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Were dropping a 41 piece.
There you go.
So after a loss, this team just drops 40 points. And I know the Denver Broncos defense is legit, but they're so sick of Russell Wilson. So I feel like they're going to be pounding a little when Patrick Mahomes. I feel like it. Why are we trying so hard? They're going to get so frustrated by this offense, and you're going to be seeing Russ cook nothing, and they're going to give up. They're going to mentally break down. They're going to give up on Russ. He's going to be putting donuts up, man. Be lucky to get 6 points in that game. And, man, the Kansas City easily gaining 20 points at least. So that's
like that,
9.5 point spread.
10, though.
That's a little worry, but touchdown and a field goal, come on. I just got to worry about them getting that field goal, because I know KC getting those tutties, man.
Better hope Butker doesn't screw you again.
You learned this lesson, man. It might get cut, man. You're playing with Kansas. You're playing with Patrick Mahomes, man. Can't waste this dude's prime. Can't waste this dude's prime, man.
I wonder what the over under would be for like the Denver kicker, like the amount of field goals. Like, I wonder what that.
He scores all their points, and he almost
honestly he does.
He almost won that game against the Ravens. To be fair, Russ did give him a chance. I mean, it was like a 66-yard field goal.
Yes,
maybe Tucker.
Tough field goal.
But man, that's giving them a chance, man.
He's trying.
He has 0 touchdowns, man. I don't remember the last time Russell Wilson threw a touchdown.
Me neither. It's sad.
I don't.
They gotta fire the coach.
They have to
fire him, because, like, say, it probably is Russ that's the lemon, but you can't get rid of Russ, so you have to fire that coach. You can't even go into next year having that coach.
They should have kept Vic Fangio. I'll say it. They should have just kept them.
They could have did something better than that coach. Like you say, he's what do you say, Zoo? He's Aaron Rodgers' drinking buddy. Like,
yes, sir, my Aaron Rodgers' drinking buddy, man. I'm telling you, man. That's why it's called networking, man. You get a job that you're not qualified for. That's why people network. That's why people network. That's the key.
And it could have been no conspiracy theory here. It could have been just trying to get Aaron Rodgers, and they just did not end up getting Aaron. And so they had to settle with Russell. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, well, it's like, not Russell, but you got Russell. And it's like, make it work. It's like, well, it just doesn't work like that. If your plan was to get Aaron Rodgers and you built the offense and everything that you had to get the job at Denver around Aaron, and you get Russell, that may speak to the scheme fit. And Nathaniel Hackett might be one of those guys. Him and Josh McDaniels, I think, even though Josh McDaniels has kind of turned around the Raiders, I'm still not high on him. They might have to change out their their key card and find a new job as an assistant or something like that. Like, say, hey, maybe he can go back to Green Bay and resurrect Aaron Rodgers. But those are our bets. Go ahead, Peepers.
No, I was gonna say Ori brings Jordan Love to the promised land.
Stop! Stop! You know what he sounded like right now? He sounded like Skip Bayless, man, calling that brother Michael Jordan Love, man. That dude's the biggest troll, man. He had one little.
Calling you, man. Because you're a Packers fan.
Jordan
Love is crazy.
Jordan, but that's all I got to say.
Disgusting. That's disgusting. I didn't know you said that. That's why.
Oh, man. Hey, Michael Jordan Love, man. All I got to say, shout out to Christian Watson.
Yeah.
For recovering. For recovering from dropping passes to getting tutties every week. So
they're going to be nice, dude.
Him and Dobbs
next year. Him and Dobbs are going to be real nice next year. And like you say, if they could maybe draft another receiver, like, they're gonna have weapons. Like, Aaron Rodgers still gonna be around, but whenever Aaron Rodgers retires, Jordan.
I gotta make this statement, man. He looks like a tall Tyreek Hill out there running. He's real fast. He's real fast. His speed is like top 1% NFL. I don't know about the route running and catching ability right now, but his speed when he gets a football, that's why I like when they do a little dink and dunk and use him as a running back a couple times. because you just let your playmakers make plays. Because this kid, man, he is so fast, man. He is so fast.
That was a Trey Lance #1 guy in college, so kind of makes sense. Trey Lance was able to get him the ball. So I don't know. We're gonna see, man. It's gonna be a lot of interesting storylines going into the playoffs, end of the year, like it always is in the NFL. So you guys make sure you're locked into that. Like you say, NBA is getting closer to Christmas, so we're gonna be revving that up when that comes around. So make sure you lock into the bullheaded_pod page on Instagram. Make sure you lock into our TikTok, bullheaded_864. YouTube page, Quantrell knows. We're putting highlights, edits, same type of deal every day, all day. Our DSPs, Spotify, Google, Apple, we are uploading there every week. So make sure you guys give us a 5-star review if you can. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.